Okay, I'm going to go over what I learned in figuring out multiple work coordinate system offsets, um, your G54, your G55, and etc. And this applies to all the way up to G59, I believe. I scoured the internet and YouTube looking to see how to figure this out, and at first a lot of this stuff wasn't working, and I mean it really comes down to not understanding or not being explained easily enough the process and how to obtain the result you're looking for. And there's a lot of great stuff out there, but there's also not a lot of answers. The Autodesk Fusion forums, they're not that great, to be honest with you. So I have this part here, and I want to make multiples using G55. And I have a Haas VF2, 20 tool ATC. But for this particular reason, I'm loading tools. And this could apply to anybody with a Tormach. This could apply to anybody that doesn't have an ATC, just a general hobbyist little mini mill, whatever the case may be. Now, what they tell you to do is you're going to go into setup. And as they're telling you this, they don't really explain everything. Nobody really gives you a definitive answer on what to expect and what it'll do. So if I go to setup edit, and I'll go to post process here, what they're going to tell you is your WCS 0 and 1 are G54. I mean, that's been repeated. A lot of these videos, they tell you that. They tell you all this great stuff here. Multiple WCF offset, you're going to check that box. Number of instances, 2. I want to make 2 parts. So it's going to be included with your G54, so you'll get a G54 and a G55. Your WCS offset increment is 1, and I want to order it by tool. Less tool changes, I mean, if you hover over this, it's pretty self-explanatory, but ultimately, if you want to run one tool at one time, less tool changes, you're going to be order by tool. And then you hit OK. What I found is I don't want to post-process the entire setup because I'm changing tools. And I'm just going to unclick these so I can go back through it again. What you'll find is, let's just get these generated. Yes. What you'll find is if I go, let's go ahead and post-process this setup. Now we're telling it is a multiple work coordinate offset. Let's give it a number here. Okay, and let's look at the code. Now this is all operations. There's 4 operations here: contours, there's bores, there's drills. So we got our drill, we got our G54, and our drill again at G55. So we know when we selected in the post-processing section there, order by tool. So we know that works. So we got our G54 and our G55. Let's say I just want to go down each one. All right, let's click on our first operation here, which is a drill. Let's post-process it. Let's give it a number here. All right, so we got our drill 1 and our G54 right here. Okay, now let's scroll down. Oh, that's it. We have no G55 whatsoever. That was frustrating for me because I couldn't figure out why. Now, I guess a simplified answer to that would be to, change. Well, we could do a new setup. I mean, that's originally what I thought you could do, and you can do it. So we do a new setup, right? And we're going to tell it, let's select our planes here. I always do the back left corner. And the way way my Haas is Y positive, X positive here. All right, let's go to post-process here. Now we're going to tell it, here's how you're going to do this. Your first setup up here is just going to be G54. We'll change that, but we're just going to make it a G54. The best way to make your next setup a G55 is just to give this a number 2. That's it. That's all you have to do. Now that setup is just a G55. So let's take this operation. Let's copy this operation, our drilling operation. You can copy all of them, but let's just do this one here. Let's paste it here. Let's drop down. Let's generate this. All right, so now let me go back in. I'm going to change this setup number 1 to just a 1 and leave it, okay? So now what we have is our setup 1 is a G54, our setup 2 is a G55, okay? Just by telling the post processor that the WCS offset is 2, that's a G55. So if we go ahead and we click on our setup 1, our operation 1, our drill 1, okay, and then we hit control on our keyboard and we hit on setup, this is setup number 3, but the next setup here, operation 1 G55. They're both highlighted, and we can go now, we can post process these. It's going to give you a warning. It's going to tell you that there are multiple setups. They want you to watch for your, so your machine doesn't crash. That's essentially why they're giving you that warning. You're only going to get that warning when you have multiple setups. If you're just running in setup 1, your first setup here with a G55, when it's selected properly, it's only going to do that. It's not going to give you a warning. But we're running multiples, so it's going to give us a warning. Let's give it a number here. So let's look at the code. So right at the bat, we got our drill 1 and our G54 right here. Okay, let's scroll down. There it is, drill 2, G55. So that works. That's one way to do it, where you're changing tools. You're only doing one operation. Right there is your G54 and your G55 in one program. You can send it off to your machine, post-process it, and you're done. The other way to do this with one setup, and it doesn't matter. So what we'll go ahead and do is we'll delete this setup here. All right, we're back up to setup 1. All right, with all of our operations in this setup. We're going to, let's go back in, we'll edit this post processor. We'll sit here and say, okay, well, WCF is 1, right? Well, we leave that. Still 1, because we're still going off the G54. Let's scroll down here. The only thing we're going to change here, or that you want to have on here, is going to be, obviously you check the box, you get the more options here. We're going to change this to 2. We want 2 of them. That's going to give us our G55. And we're going to drop down in order by tool because we want the same tool. Again, if you don't have a tool changer or you're hand loading tools like I am, this is what your options are, what you're going to want. Okay, well, we already did this, right? So we can't just go ahead and click on this one operation to send it to the machine. What we have to do is we have to go into each one of these and we're going to suppress them. It's going to give you a warning. Okay. This is because it's giving you a warning because it's assuming you're going to post-process through the setup, not for each individual operation here. So we'll go ahead and suppress all these, suppressing the ones we don't want. So now this gives us the option to go back to our setup. We're going to right-click. We're going to post-process. However you want to post-process it. Okay, we're going to do. Let's do a number. We're going to hit save. And let's look at it. All right, here's our drill 1. There's our G54 right there. Okay. Now let's scroll down. There it is. Drill 1, G55. So we know we got both of them for our tool order. Now we have nothing. So it's just the same operation, G54 and G55. So what you do from here is with your one setup, you'll go in, you'll suppress this, it'll give it a warning. Now I want to do my next tool, right? And this one is tool 6. So let's unsuppress it. Let's generate that. Okay, there's our bore. Call it a bore. It's actually a countersinking chamfer. Let's go to our setup. Let's post-process this setup now again. Let's give it another number. Whatever. Let's go through. Now we got bore 2. Okay. That's the operation. We got our G54 right there. Okay, let's scroll down. This is going to be pretty lengthy because there's just a lot going on here. We scroll down halfway. We should come up to, I think I passed it. All right, bore 2, same bore, right there. There's our G55. And if we scroll down, that's all we have. We don't have anything else. Right there, our M30. This is the easiest way I found to do this. I did come across one video on YouTube that kind of gave me a hint of what to do with these multiple setups to get what I wanted, but ultimately me figuring out that, oh, wait a minute, let's just suppress it to get what we want. Again, you can't just click on this part right here. You can't click on this operation and post-process it, even though in setup it's set up correctly. We'll give it a number and we'll look. All right, here's our G54. Scroll down. Nothing. Right there. So there's our M30. So we know that didn't work. So we know we can't individually click on one. You have to go to the setup. So what it requires you to do is to suppress all your other operations and just do that individually. Or, again, that would be for the purpose if you're just hand loading tools. If you're not, and you have all your tools set up in your ATC, then you can just have these all unsuppressed, all generated, and you're going to go ahead and you're going to just post-process the setup itself. Hope this helps. If you got any comments, leave them below. If you like it or dislike it, go ahead and check them. Take care.